Hello and welcome to the She Is Left Project. This podcast is dedicated to helping you heal from the challenging and painful relationship with your mother so you can finally experience the love you've always craved. I'm your host, Jennifer Arnice. I'm a mother wound coach, author, and healer who believes tenderness and vulnerability are your true superpowers. Sis, it's time to finally heal your inner little girl so you can start thriving and not just surviving. Progressive, irreverent, and real, this podcast will have you laughing and crying at the same time. Trust me, you don't want to miss an episode. Welcome back, everybody. This is the She Is Love Project. I'm your host, Jennifer Arnice, and this is episode 13. So last week, in episode 12, I was talking about how to become more tender, how to become vulnerable, when you've basically been rejected by your mother for a lifetime, right? And that conversation led us into the 4 pillars of reparenting and why reparenting that's my methodology for healing my mother wound. So I just be taking y'all through what I know and what works for me. So if you haven't listened to episode 12, stop, go listen to episode 12, and then you can be caught up with where we are now. If this is your first time listening, because I know I've got a influx of new people that have been coming and I love it so much. Hey y'all, I'm Jennifer Arnice. I'm an author, I'm a podcast host, I'm an artist, I'm a mother, and I am a healing strategist and facilitator for Black women who have had a painful and toxic relationship with their mother. What does that mean? That means I center the stories of Black women. I center the experiences of Black women as an example because we never had that. Healing is liberation. Joy is an act of resistance for us. And it is so important that we become self-centered in that way. I mean, that's all I can say about it, But so if you're new here, welcome. My name is Jennifer Arnice. I am an author. I am a podcast host. I'm an artist. I'm a mom. I am a healing strategist and facilitator. I center the stories and experiences of Black women. I specifically help Black women who have had a painful, challenging, and toxic relationship with their mothers. This is a topic that needs to be blown wide open. It is very taboo in the Black community. And because of my own personal experiences, I know the danger of silence. And so my work is to create a safe space for Black women to be centered, for us to be heard, and for us to heal collectively, because that's the only way that it happens. So that's my little intro there. And so we're going to get into today's topic. What I said in episode 12 was I talked about the first pillar of healing, and you're going to go back and listen to that, which is discipline. And so today I'm going to talk about a second pillar. These aren't in any particular order in general, but for me they are, because you have to build off of them. Like, you can't do anything, you can't accomplish anything without discipline. So that's why I talk about that one first. The next pillar I'm talking about today is emotional regulation, regulating your nervous system, because that's what's really out of whack. We know the root of our problems is the relationship with our mothers and how we were treated by her. And when I say that, it is we were not seen, heard, or validated or nurtured by her. So that gave us a sense of really non-existence. Like, am I even really here? Have you ever felt like a ghost in your home emotionally, mentally, physically? And when you are a child, that fucks up your mind. It makes you feel like you're not safe, right? It physically, mentally, or emotionally. And sometimes we're not safe in those spaces. And if you grow up consistently with a feeling a lack of safety, it dysregulates your nervous system, right? What's a dysregulated nervous system look like? Well, I have some notes here. It means you might have anxiety. You may have trouble engaging in social and emotional ways. You may have auditory sensitivities, like loud noises may really be really triggering for you. I know they are for me. Somebody clapping really loud in front of me, or somebody ringing my doorbell, that shit sends me off. I'm learning, what that means and how to kind of process that. But those are just a couple of examples. You may not have, it may be difficult for you to pay attention. Your mind wanders. You might get focused on multiple things at one time and not be able to get anything done. When something negative happens or something uncomfortable happens, you go into the worst case scenario. Your emotions take a deep dive and it's very difficult for you to recover. These are just some of the signs of having a dysregulated nervous system. How else does that show up in your adult life? You have difficulty making decisions. You start projects and you don't finish them. It's difficult for you to express yourself verbally when you have big or difficult emotions. These are ways that your body has been stuck in a space of trauma. And what is trauma? Trauma is not specifically what happened to you. Trauma is the memory of it, where it gets lodged in you because there was never a sympathetic witness there to move you through it, to let you know, oh, you're okay. That's fine. You're safe, because the body is always looking for a space to be safe, so it can be calm, so it can function. Like, that is your physical body needs food to live. Your mental and emotional body need safety. They need to know I'm okay and that I matter. These are like very simple concepts, but it's sad how so many of us missed it growing up in our childhood, because and again, I always talk about what the differences are between a mother wound and a Black mother wound. And then when it comes to how we have learned to parent, we did not come up with, we came out of slavery. I mean, point blank. I always talk about this. Y'all already know. So I'm not even going to get into that. But slavery and racial oppression and colonization has informed Black parenting in this country and any other country that has been colonized by the colonizers, those motherfuckers, right? So that's what a dysregulated nervous system looks like. And when it comes to, so what does a regulated nervous system look like, right? Regulated nervous system looks like being able to mentally process difficulties without going over the deep end. It means that you can stay in the present moment. Your mind isn't constantly drifting to the past or worrying about the future. It means that you are able to see yourself as worthy. I think that's like been one of the biggest things for me. And I am in the learning mode. I am still in the learning mode around this. But being able to know that it's okay for me to be me. And that shit is hard. Like, there's a lot of, go to the show notes and I'll have more information and links so you can learn more. But right now, I want to talk about how important it is to be able to feel okay just to be you. And that sense of worthiness that seems to elude us, that keeps us trying, working, overachieving, hiding, even lying, because we believe if someone really knew who we were, there's no possible way they would love us. That's depart. There's a whole lot of other stuff around it, but that's why healing the nervous system is so important, because going through life feeling like if anybody knew you, that they would automatically reject you, that they would abandon you, that they would shame you, that they wouldn't embrace you, is fucking heartbreaking and exhausting. And it's so layered because we've learned through childhood that we have to do in order to be loved. We have to, like Dr. Brene Brown says, we have to hustle for worthiness. And it's like a never ending fucking story. And when you are at a point where you have the opportunity to be seen, but the fear, like true fear and true terror, is that, oh, if they see me, that pain that I had as a child will return to me. That shit will make you do some dumb shit. It will make you really act crazy. And you'll be thinking that what you're doing makes sense. You're thinking that you're making logical decisions. You think you have a strategy. You think that you figured it out. But really, you are like boxing a ghost, because you're acting out of your own childhood trauma. And what nervous system regulation does is it gives us an opportunity to be in the moment and be aware when we're having difficult emotions, when we're in a panic, when there's this feeling that, oh my God, I'm going to be abandoned again. And it's not this abandonment in the present tense. It's the abandonment that a 5-year-old feels, right? It's the fear and the powerlessness that a 5-year-old feels. It's not the fear that a 47-year-old feels, because at 47 years old, I have options. I have choices, right? I have some real logical authority and autonomy, but the 5-year-old version of me is completely helpless. I cannot take care of myself. I am out in this world alone, and there's only one person I'm looking to, and they have turned away. And that is repeating itself in real time. Every time we are looking for love, every time we're looking for connection, every time we want to be seen, whether it's in a romantic experience, whether it's in applying for a new job, whether it's in meeting new people, going to a networking event, sitting at a restaurant alone, all the ways our mind will tell us, run. You better go, because if they find out, it's over for you. So nervous system regulation is how we combat that, right? So how do you do that? This seems like the hardest part sometimes, because this is what I'm gonna have to tell you. You do have to look the boogeyman in the face. You're going to have to stop running from the emotions that you have. You're going to have to stop denying the emotions that you have and allow them to come up so you can sift through them. How do you do that without feeling like your head is going to explode off of your fucking shoulders? You do this by getting into the body. You get into the body by experiencing all of your 5 senses. And it's so funny because like the ways that I have learned to process emotion and move myself through and reparent myself in this way are so simple. These are not things that you have to spend money on. I do suggest a therapist, but if you don't have a therapist, these are still things that you can do anywhere, anytime by yourself without a whole bunch of extra accoutrement, right? So for me, it's about experiencing all 5 of my senses, because what that does is it brings me back to the moment, and it lets me know that I am real. It lets me know that I exist, that I'm in this moment, that I'm not 5, I'm not 12, I'm not 15, I'm not 16, that I'm here in this moment. So what does it mean to experience your senses? let's go through your 5 standard senses, because there's other senses, but we're just going to talk about the 5 physical ones. For me, a big one is moving my body. Being able to dance, being able to walk, being able to touch yourself and feel yourself, even to sit in a space and close your eyes and do a mental body scan of, okay, I'm going to wiggle my toes. Okay, I'm going to rotate my ankles to the left and right. I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to tighten the muscles in my thighs and release them. I'm going to clench my hips and my butt cheeks one by one. Like I'm doing this as I'm talking right now, right? I'm going to expand my belly. I'm going to retract my belly. I'm going to roll my shoulders. I'm going to stretch my hands up in the air. I'm going to wiggle my fingers. I'm going to rotate my wrist. I'm going to move my neck. I'm going to rotate my neck from left to right. Yes, yes, no, up and down. I'm going to breathe. That's how you become aware of your body. This is a really simple practice, but when you feel discomfort in the moment, you have to learn to be there for yourself. That's what reparenting is. It is, how do I be there for myself? And these ways seem like they're kind of like strange, or like, can they really make a difference? But what's crazy is this is how animals in the wild regulate their nervous system. When there's a threat, when there's a fear, when there's a danger, and they make it out, they go through this automatic movement where they literally shake it off, because trauma sits and resides and is stored in your physical body. So you have to move your body. I love I call it automatic dance. It's just like putting music on, because in my mind, I'm Debbie Allen. You can't tell me I'm not Debbie Allen and White Chocolate, the stripper from Strokers, put together. I can't dance, but you can't tell me that I can't dance. So it's like moving your body in a way that just whatever comes to you, you just are getting it out. That in and of itself is autonomy. A lot of us never had autonomy over our body, how our body moved, what it did, where it sat, how it sat. Just this in and of itself are practices that you can take on now. Okay, so we have that one. Okay, what's next? Smell. Aromatherapy is really big for me. The nose, the sense of smell is so powerful. If you think about how many memories are associated with different smells that you have, and how it can bring you back to a time in your life. So you can use your sense of smell now, because different oils can make you feel different ways. I love lavender. Lavender has such a soothing and relaxing smell. And then I love pairing that with a citrus, because a citrus is like energizing, like a orange or a grapefruit smell. These are all things that you can go to TJ Maxx and Marshalls and buy, or oils and aromatherapy, and get you a diffuser and come home and start doing it today. You can go buy some oranges and boil the peel of oranges and have that scent in your house. Trust me, this is like real shit that I'm talking about. It's so simple, but these are ways to bring you back to the present moment, because trauma is taking you to the past and making you feel like it's happening right now. And that's how your nervous system is completely thrown off and, out of whack. Okay, what else? Hearing. What are the sounds that can be soothing to you? I listen to ocean sounds. I say echo, play nature sounds. And then there's like a whole list of different sounds that come up. Right now, I love ocean sounds because I love the ocean. Sometimes I listen to a rainstorm. Even they have like rainstorm on like a tin roof. They have just all these different options. Some people, there's some sound, I think it's even like a plane, like the sound of an airplane. The point is, these are things that you can find and you have access to. You can go on YouTube and listen to different noises, different sounds, because it's another thing that allows you to feel safe in the moment. This is what the healing is about. It's about feeling safe enough for you to be who you are, for you to explore, for you to express, for you to grow, and for you to connect, right? That's the vulnerability and tenderness I was talking about in episode 12. So here we're talking about the ways that you're able to be there for yourself in real time, right? So we talked about moving your body and being aware of your body. We talked about smell, and we talk about sounds. Let's talk about your sense of sight and seeing, looking at beautiful things. Right? Beautiful things doesn't have to mean expensive things. I know we can get caught up in that in this aspirational culture that we live in, but it may be going to a garden and looking at flowers. It could be watching birds chirp outside the window. It could be watching squirrels run up and down a tree. These are all things that we can look at that can bring us back into the current moment. What are beautiful things that you like to look at? These are everything I said. Those are things that I can lay in my bed and I can look out the window, right? And I can see. And then I also can hear, because like I love hearing the birds chirping. Like, oh my God, I feel like, oh, there's possibility out here in this world, you know? So we have that. What else do we have? Oh, taste. So tasting is really about, it's about tasting. What are things that you love that bring you joy to eat? It doesn't necessarily have to be like a great meal. Like it could be, but some people, they just don't have the aesthetic for taste. But it could be a really sweet pineapple. Like this weekend, I had the best freaking pineapple and I was just smacking and it was so good. And I just kind of sat there in the moment. It was like, damn, these are simple things. Drinking a cup of hot tea, feeling it going down your throat. Anything that you can do that brings you pleasure in the moment, right, can offer you an opening to where then you can go deeper and you can say, okay, Jennifer, what's this fear about? What is this thing there's something you should be doing and you're avoiding it. And you've got 1,001 reasons why you're avoiding it. Now that we've come back, now that you feel safe, what is it about? This is where you start talking to your inner child, because you relaxed her enough to where she can give you more information about how she's really feeling from her perspective, not from your memory of what happened, but from her really like, I remember in the 3rd grade, I would try and raise my hand to answer a question and the teacher stopped calling on me. And she was like, let other people answer. But nobody else would raise their hand to answer. But she would not call on me and I had the answer. And that made me feel rejected. It made me feel like I wasn't important, like what I had to say wasn't important, and that I wasn't a part of the group and that other people were more important than me. And it taught me to be quiet and not to speak up. Like that's real. That's me. It's like, oh, okay. So your fear of being rejected for knowing the answer, for speaking up, for being a part of a community. Okay, how can I soothe you in that? Right? How can we take baby steps to move forward in a new situation? Because that was in the past and now we're here. And also, I'm very sorry that happened to you. This is how I talk to my inner child. I'm so sorry that happened to you. You deserve to be heard. That teacher was wrong. I'm sorry that was your experience. And guess what? It's not ever going to happen again because I'm here. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to teach you how to use your voice. I'm going to show you how to feel safe. I'm going to put you in environments where you can be seen and where you can be heard and where you can be embraced. That's my promise and that's my commitment to you. What I ask of you is when you are feeling shaky, that you let me know before you act out, before you sabotage, before you, do something that's unproductive in the process, right? Before you say you're sleepy, before you get all these other list of busy things that you want us to do instead of the thing that we're sent here to do, just let me know like, ooh, it's happening again. And I promise to get on it. And that's when I use these 5 sensory tools that I've been talking about to soothe her. Okay, how do we get back in the moment? What do you need right now from me so we can move forward? Right? That's that compassion. That is that acceptance. That is that patience. That is that grace that we offer ourselves that more than likely we didn't get from a parent, right? We weren't able, me as a child, I was already used to being shut down at home. So getting shut down at school was just a confirmation that that was what I deserved. And there was never a time where I would go home and be like, oh, the teacher said this and did this to me, because I knew I didn't have an advocate who was going to stand in the gap and explain to me what was happening, who was going to go to the school and talk to the teacher and let her know, ma'am, when my daughter raised her hands, I'm gonna need you to call on her. I'm gonna need you to be fair, or at least explain it in a way where it's like, okay, where you don't feel shut down. So that's my job now as an adult for my inner child. And we do that with calming her nervous system. We do that by bringing her back into the present moment where she feels safe enough to relax, where I can then see her. Remember, trauma is about not having a witness. So this allows me to be a witness to her experience, to reframe it to her so she can release it and know, oh, okay, that was just that incident. I don't have to keep replaying that. That's not the truth, because children, and it becomes concrete in our mind as the absolute truth. As children, we can have an experience, and that negative experience will solidify in us and we will see it as a fact. If we are abandoned or rejected in a way and no one is there to help us understand that that's not our fault, that is somebody else's shit, that I apologize, I do see you, if it's not repaired, that becomes a fact for us. And there's nothing anybody can say or do to change our mind as an adult. You're like, fuck that. That is the law. And that is what I'm abiding by, because that's how we have learned to be safe. And we're going to do anything in our power to prevent that from happening again, which makes us vigilant in our nervous system. That is a dysregulation when we are living our lives to make sure something doesn't happen again. That's called stress. And think about all the ways that that's happening in your life right now, in large and small ways. So learning to use your 5 senses to come back and soothe yourself it's very simple, it's very practical, and it's so powerful. So this is that second pillar. That second pillar is regulating the nervous system. And like I said, I'm going to put some more notes and links so you have those in the show notes so you can research this even more and you can start building out a practice for yourself so you can start seeing how this can work in your life. Okay. So I think that pretty much, that sums up the second pillar right now. And next week, I'm going to be talking about the third pillar of reparenting. And that's going to be a good one too. But in the meantime, I want you to really spend some time being compassionate and kind with yourself. Okay. Don't over intellectualize this. This is something that requires you to feel, and you can only feel when you get present in your body, right? So even if you can only do it for 5 minutes, and sometimes it can become so overwhelming. That's why I want to be really gentle with you in this process, because sometimes it can be so overwhelming to sit in those feelings, because it feels like you're at the top of the roller coaster and that bitch is about to dip and you're like, fuck, not again. So take it small, go in small increments. Give yourself 5 minutes if that's all you can take when it happens, and be in those difficult times with yourself and practice. And even before you're in a difficult emotion, even before you're in a difficult space, practice these exercises so you can get used to what it feels like to be in your body. So you have made certain emotional deposits. So when the time comes, you've already got a habit started. You've already got tools in your toolbox that you can pull from and that you can utilize in the moment so you don't feel so helpless. Right? That's the powerful part. Healing does not happen in your mind. It happens in your body. It happens through action. It happens through action. Changes only happen through action. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you took notes, and I'll be back next week with the third pillar. I love you all, and I hope you have a great week. If you're not following me, come over to Instagram at I am Jennifer Arnice, and check us out where we continue to have this conversation. If you would like to be supported in your healing journey, I do have a couple of ways to do that. I have a link in the show notes. You can also hit me up, info@jenniferarnice.com if you want to know more about that. This is such a special time for us, and I'm happy for us that we have each other and that we're learning that we are not alone, but that we are all in this together. So I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining me on the She Is Loved Project podcast. Every week, I'm committed to reminding you that you are loved, you are seen, and you are heard. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe, rate, and review it on iTunes and your favorite platforms.